I still remember that morning like it was yesterday. The way sunlight slipped through my dorm window, touching my face as if the world itself was smiling at me. Everything felt perfect back then. My life, my grades, my friends, and most of all, him. Arham. The name that once made my heart race every time it echoed in my mind. He wasn't the kind of guy who needed attention. There was something calm about him. The kind of calm that made people trust him instantly. He had that half smile that could melt your anger, and a voice that sounded like he actually listened when you spoke. When I first met him at orientation, I was the quiet one, too nervous to even speak up during introductions. But he noticed me when nobody else did. He offered to help me find the library that day. I didn't even need help, but something inside me didn't want to say no. "You look lost," he had said with that grin. "Maybe I am," I replied, pretending to joke, though my heart was already betraying me. From that moment, things moved fast. Study sessions turned into late-night talks. Late-night talks turned into early morning walks to the cafeteria. And before I knew it, we weren't just classmates. We were everything to each other. The next few days felt like walking through fog. I went to classes, smiled when people spoke to me, but I wasn't there. My heart had gone somewhere I couldn't reach anymore. Arham tried to talk to me that week. Of course he did. He messaged, "Hey, sorry I've been busy with the fest. You okay?" Busy, the word that suddenly felt like a dagger. I typed, deleted, retyped, and then finally sent a single word, "Fine." It was strange how one lie can make everything taste bitter. The same voice that once brought comfort now carried the sound of deceit. He kept acting normal, waving across the canteen, trying to start casual conversations, but I wasn't ready because I knew what I saw. I knew what he was pretending didn't happen. I started sitting in the back row of lectures instead of the front. I'd see him laugh with her sometimes, Rita, the girl from that night. Whispers, but no one said it to my face. Maybe they didn't want to hurt me, or maybe they assumed I already knew. The truth is, I did know, but I wasn't ready to accept it out loud. Because once you say it, once you name it, betrayal becomes real. One afternoon, while everyone was gathered for the music rehearsal, he finally approached me. His voice was soft, almost careful. "Hey, you've been avoiding me. Did I do something?" I looked at him, really looked, and for the first time I saw him as a stranger wearing a familiar face. "You tell me," I said quietly. He frowned, confused. "If this is about me and Rita, it's nothing like that. She was just helping me with—" "Don't," I cut in. "Don't lie to me again." His eyes widened, and for a second he looked guilty, but then his expression shifted into that practiced calm I used to adore. "You're overthinking, Zara. You always do that." That was it. That single sentence broke something inside me. Because when someone betrays you and then makes you feel crazy for noticing, that's not love. That's control. The next week, I stopped trying. No calls, no texts, no tears. I threw myself into my work. Projects, assignments, club events, anything that kept my mind busy. But no matter how hard I tried, every corner of campus still carried his shadow. The bench under the banyan tree, the coffee mug he gifted me during finals, even the sound of laughter felt cruel because it reminded me of the way we used to laugh. Then one evening, while scrolling through social media, I saw it. A photo. Arham and Rita sitting together at a cafe, captioned with a heart emoji. I didn't cry this time. I didn't shout, didn't throw my phone. Instead, I felt something colder, calmer. A silence that wasn't weakness, but realization. He had moved on, and maybe it was time I stopped holding on to the version of him that never existed. But moving on isn't as simple as deleting photos or blocking numbers. It's about facing the pieces of yourself that got lost in someone else's story, and that's what I decided to do. That night, I wrote a letter to myself, not to Arham. It said, "You don't owe anyone your pain. You don't need closure from a liar. You are enough, even without his sorry." I folded it, placed it in my journal, and promised myself something. I would rebuild, quietly. I would heal, slowly. And when I returned, I'd be someone even betrayal couldn't break. What I didn't know then was that life had a way of circling back, and Monday soon, Arham would need me again. But by then, I wouldn't be the same girl he betrayed. 2 months had passed. Midsem exams came and went. I topped again, something that used to make Arham proud once. But now, the victory felt strangely hollow. Still, I smiled, because this time, I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for me. Arham, meanwhile, was different. Rumors said Rita had broken up with him, something about trust issues. Funny, right? The same man who once made me feel guilty for doubting him was now being doubted himself. Karma doesn't knock. It enters quietly. One day in class, he approached me. He looked tired, almost desperate. "Zara, can we talk?" I didn't answer. I just packed my books and stood up. "It's about the final project," he added quickly. "We've been paired together." Of course, the universe always loves drama. Working with him was awkward. He kept trying to start small talk. Jokes, memories, even apologies disguised as humor. "You still overthink everything. Guess some things never change." But I wasn't that naive girl anymore. Every time he smiled, I smiled back. Politely. No anger, no pain, just distance. And that, I think, hurt him more than any insult could. Because indifference is louder than hate. After our project presentation, something changed inside me. For months, I'd hidden behind hoodies and silence, trying to disappear. But one morning, I woke up and decided no more. I went shopping with my best friend, Ariba. A haircut, new clothes, a brighter lipstick, nothing too flashy, just different. When I looked in the mirror, I saw her, the Zara I had buried under heartbreak. The next day on campus, people noticed. Compliments, smiles, even whispers. But the one that mattered most was the stunned look on Arm's face. He stood there, speechless, like someone seeing sunlight after months of rain. "You look different," he muttered. "No," I said, smiling. "I just remembered who I was." That was the day I realized revenge doesn't always come through chaos. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is glow in silence. A few weeks later, fate played its cruel game again. Arham's grades started dropping. His group fell apart. Rita's new boyfriend was in another department. And suddenly, Arham was alone. He came to me after class, nervous. "Zara, I need help with the presentation. You're the best at this." I looked at him. Part of me wanted to say no, but another part, the calm, collected one, saw an opportunity. "Sure," I said softly. "Let's make it perfect." For the next few days, we worked together, and I could feel the tension, the guilt in his eyes, the longing in his words. One night after practice, he finally said it. "I missed you, Zara. I was stupid. I didn't realize what I had." My heart raced, but my mind was steady. "You realized too late, Arham, because the girl who loved you doesn't exist anymore." He stared at me, speechless, and I walked away. Not out of pride, but peace. Because closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. The college fest came again. Exactly 1 year since the night I caught him cheating. This time, I was the head organizer. Spotlight, leadership, confidence. Everything I had once lost, I now owned. Aram, on the other hand, had lost his charm. People whispered that he'd become the guy Zara rejected. During the event, I gave a short speech about growth. Sometimes people break you so that you can rebuild stronger. Sometimes betrayal is just the universe redirecting you to your worth. When I stepped down, the audience clapped, and in the corner of the crowd, Aram stood, head down, silent. That night, for the first time, I didn't feel anger toward him, just a strange kind of gratitude, because without his betrayal, I would have never found myself. Graduation came faster than I expected. Everyone was busy taking selfies, hugging, crying, the bittersweet end of an era. Arham walked up to me one last time. "Zara," he said quietly, "if I could go back, I'd choose you every time." I smiled gently. "Maybe you would. But the truth is, I wouldn't choose you anymore." He looked down, eyes glassy. I really did love you." "I know," I said, "but love without loyalty means nothing." Then I walked away, into the crowd, into the future, carrying nothing but my peace. That night, I opened my journal again, where I had written that promise months ago. You don't owe anyone your pain. You are enough. I added one last line beneath it. And sometimes the sweetest revenge is living a life they can only dream of. 2 years later, life looked nothing like the girl I once was. I'd graduated, left my hometown, and moved to Karachi, chasing a new job, a new start, a new me. The city was louder, faster, and somehow kinder. Nobody here knew my story. Nobody saw me as the girl who got betrayed. I was just Zara Malik, junior designer at a media agency, coffee addict, quiet observer, and maybe, finally, at peace. My mornings started with metro rides and music in my ears. My nights ended with long walks by Clifton Beach, where I'd watch the waves break over and over and realize even the sea forgives itself. I had changed. I smiled more, but only when I meant it. I trusted less, but loved myself more. Every now and then, I'd see a couple laughing and feel a little ache. Not for him, but for the version of me that believed love was simple. I knew better now. Love wasn't about losing yourself. It was about being seen, truly, and still being chosen. At the agency, people liked my creativity. My boss once said, "You design like you felt too much." I smiled. He was right. I had. And for the first time in years, I was proud of it. It was a Tuesday afternoon when it happened. The office was buzzing with a new client, a tech startup looking for a full campaign design. When I walked into the meeting room and saw him sitting there, my heart froze for half a second. Aram. Same familiar face, but not the same man. He looked older, tired, and the confidence that once filled the room when he smiled was gone. He blinked, equally shocked. "Zara?" I nodded, keeping my voice calm. "Yes, I'm leading your campaign." For a second, the air between us was heavy with unspoken memories. I didn't flinch. I didn't break. I just opened my laptop and began presenting the project plan. Clear, professional, detached. Every word I spoke reminded me how far I'd come. Every second he watched me reminded him how far he had fallen. After the meeting, he waited by the elevator. "Can we talk?" he asked, quietly. I hesitated, then nodded once. We stepped outside into the corridor. He took a deep breath. "You look different." "That's what healing does," I replied softly. He looked down. "Zara, I made mistakes. I hurt you, and I can't take it back, but I've paid for it." His voice cracked, something I'd never seen before. He told me how things with Rita fell apart, how he lost his focus, his reputation, even friends who once admired him. Karma had done its work, slowly, precisely. For a moment, I almost felt sorry. Almost. "I'm not angry anymore, Aram," I said gently. "You don't owe me an apology. You owe yourself change." He nodded, eyes glassy. "I don't know if I deserve forgiveness." "Maybe not from me," I replied, "but from life, yes, if you've learned." As I walked away, I realized something profound. Forgiveness wasn't for him. It was for me. The moment I let go of hate, I truly became free. Weeks passed. The project finished successfully, and Arham's company sent a thank you note. He left quietly, no drama, no last message, and that was okay, because this time I wrote the ending. I didn't need grand revenge. My revenge was growth. My closure was peace. That night, sitting by my apartment window, I opened my old journal, the one that still held the letter I wrote to myself years ago. I reread the line, "You are enough, even without his sorry." And for the first time, I smiled without pain. Life has a strange way of testing us. Sometimes the people who break us are the same ones who teach us strength. Sometimes losing someone isn't punishment, it's protection. I looked out at the city lights and whispered, "Thank you, life, for the betrayal that became my beginning." Because the truth was simple now. He betrayed me once, but I found myself forever.